I'm going to switch now from looking at suttas that have all four to looking at the suttas that mention Karuṇā that are different from the 38 suttas that mention all four. And yeah, we can look through them fairly quickly and see how Karuṇā, which I'm translating primarily as kindness, but most people translate as compassion, and I didn't bother to change the what was there. So the Buddha Vipassini is a previous Buddha. Our Buddha is only one of, I think, 7 Buddhas. If you read Digha Nikaya number 14, it's a mythological sutta, obviously. And it names the previous Buddhas, and then it gives the story of Vipassi's awakening. Vipassi is the one who left the palace and saw the old person, sick person, dead person, not our Buddha. It's only found in this mythological sutta. But then, of course, the mythology gets pulled out and put on our Buddha, and that's the story that we find. But it's taken out of this mythological sutta. Anyhow, after his awakening, Vipassi surveyed the world with the eye of a Buddha out of compassion for sentient beings. Or we could say out of his kindness for sentient beings. Both of them work here, and we'll find that that works all the way down. And it also says, the monks are to teach for the welfare and happiness out of kindness for the world. This is a late sutta. The mythological ones, they generally get the label late. Many devas come to see the Buddha, including a host of the devas of love and compassion. So there's a heaven called the heaven of love and compassion, and the beings who live there are the devas of love and compassion. Again, this is another mythological sutta. Majjhima 26 is early, and most scholars say that this sutta is probably the best description of the Buddha's awakening. After his awakening, the Buddha surveyed the world with the eye of a Buddha out of compassion for sentient beings, just like Vipassy did. So, did the mythological pull this out of Majjhima 26, or did Majjhima 26 have something inserted into it from the mythological one? Well, we have no way of telling. The disappointing thing about Majjhima 26, it doesn't say anything at all about exactly what the Buddha was doing as a practice the night of his awakening. It says he was looking for the end of old age, sickness, death, pain, sorrow, grief, lamentation, all the rest of the dukkha, and he found it. And there's no instructions on what to do, which I found very disappointing. Majjhima 85, the Buddha has compassion for future generation and again surveys the world out of compassion. 86 is Angulimala. You probably know about Angulimala, the serial killer. Then the Buddha, the compassionate great seer, the teacher of the worlds with its God, said to him, "Come, monk," and with that he became a monk. So the Buddha, out of compassion, out of kindness, found this serial killer and converted him into a monk who became fully enlightened. Buddha surveyed the world with the eye of a Buddha out of compassion for sentient beings. So a lot of the compassion we're finding is the Buddha doing it. Samyutta 16.3, this is instructions to those who are teaching the Dhamma. It says that they should teach others because of the natural excellence of the teaching out of compassion, kindness, and sympathy. And we get all 3 of the words that get translated at times as compassion. So Karuṇā, I put as kindness. Adudayanam, compassion, and anukampanam, care. And there's more in the next section on this particular sutta. But there are actually three words that basically are very similar in meaning. And you could translate Karuṇā as compassion and anukampa as kindness and aduyaya as care, or however you want. So what Sujato did was he has sympathy for anukampa. I prefer care. Then the next one. When compassion is developed and cultivated, it's very fruitful and beneficial. And how is compassion developed and cultivated? So it is very fruitful and beneficial. Here one cultivates the 7 factors of awakening, accompanied by the perception, the concept of compassion, which is based on seclusion, dispassion, and cessation, maturing and release. So the 7 factors of awakening, I'm assuming everybody knows them, but mindfulness, investigation of dhammas, energy, piti, tranquility, concentration, and equanimity, right? So this is what we need to practice. This is the way to awakening. These are the factors you need to develop in order to become awakened. Now, the jhanas will definitely give you piti and tranquility and samadhi and equanimity. And then you're to take your mind, which has supreme mindfulness coming out of the 4th jhana. So you're back to mindfulness. And you use your mindfulness to investigate phenomena. And this will give you insights and energy so you can keep practicing. So it's a spiral going ever higher. So you practice the 7 factors of awakening, keeping in mind compassion, kindness. So you're investigating reality when you're doing the 2nd step, the investigation of phenomena. You're investigating what compassion is like. How does it affect you? How does it affect the world? What is it like to be kind? At least that's how I interpret this sutta. You should develop love, compassion, equanimity for a person you resent. I told you the story about my ex-wife, practicing mettā for long enough actually changed my attitude towards her. And the same can be done with compassion and equanimity. Another one on getting rid of resentment. Ignore that person's impure behavior and think of them with nothing but compassion, kindness, and sympathy. So we're getting the same Pali words here. Oh, may this person give up bad conduct so they're not reborn in a bad place. Or may this person give up bad conduct so that they have a good life. Someone that has impure behavior towards you probably has impure behavior towards other people as well. May this person give up their bad conduct so they have a better life. Then this one, how can you just watch someone while someone is being harassed? Don't you have any compassion for someone who's being harassed? This one is quite useful in political times like what we're experiencing in the US now. Free of putrefaction stench, compassionate, gone beyond the fetter of sensuality. So sensuality is being equated here to putrefaction stench. And then we have a request from upekkhā, teach me out of compassion, teach me out of kindness. And then we're back to Angulimala. So the Angulimala Sutta is the story of Angulimala's conversion and what it was like when he became a monk. But he wrote his own verses. And then the Buddha, the compassionate great seer, the teacher of the world with its God, said to him, "Come, monk." So same as what we found in the sutta. And he says, "Now I live my life happy out of Mara's reach. The teacher had compassion for me." And this fellow says, have hearts of love and compassion, and please do keep your precepts. It's quite interesting to read these and see what advice they're giving. These are fully awakened monks and nuns. Have hearts of love and compassion, and please do keep your precepts. And then the great sage of compassion. So this is Karuṇā in other suttas that don't have the 4 Brahma viharas. And as we're seeing, the 4 Brahma viharas show up in different contexts, but the practice is always the same. Here, there's a little bit of difference. Most of it is the Buddha being the compassionate one, the kind one. Okay. Now, I mentioned when we got to Samyutta 16.3, this is the attitude to have when teaching the Dhamma. Bhikkhus, you should approach families like the moon, drawing back the body and mind, always acting like newcomers, without impotence towards families. Just as a man looking down an old well, a precipice, or a steep riverbank would draw back the body and mind, so too, bhikkhus, you should approach families. So a good Dharma teacher isn't coming on too strongly and saying, yeah, this is the way it is, you must believe me, or anything like that. You should be gentle in your approach to teaching. One teaches the Dhamma to others with the thought, the Dhamma is well expounded by the Blessed One, directly visible, immediate, inviting one to come to see, applicable to be personally experienced by the wise. This is the standard praise of the Dhamma that occurs over and over again in the suttas. Oh, may they listen to the Dhamma from me. Having listened, may they understand the Dhamma. Having understood, may they practice accordingly. Thus one teaches the Dhamma to others because of the intrinsic excellence of the Dhamma. One teaches the Dhamma to others from compassion and sympathy out of tender concern. Such a one's teaching of the Dhamma is pure. So anyone teaching the Dhamma should be teaching it to you to help you understand the Dhamma, rather than any sort of ego thing on the part of the teacher. This is something you really need to pay attention to when you're receiving teachings. What's the attitude the teacher has towards the students? Now, I have a footnote here. This is Bhikkhu Bodhi's translation of this sutta. I left out some of the stuff in the middle here, but this is his translation, and he has a footnote. And again, we have Karuṇā, Anuddhaya, and Anukampa here. And Bhikkhu Bodhi says, I generally translate both Karuṇā and Anukampa as compassion, which I wish he wouldn't do, because it makes it really hard to find the suttas that have one or the other. But okay, I had to go through all the suttas that had one or the other and separate them out. This is usually successful as the two seldom occur together, but the present passage is a rare exception. Thus I use tender concern for Anukampa. I like Gill's care a little better. The commentary glosses this with the protective state and Anukampa with tender-heartedness. It says they're both synonymous with Karuṇā. And I translate this as one teaches the Dhamma to others out of compassion, kindness, and sympathy. So out of compassion, to help those who are suffering. Out of kindness, because it's really good to help anybody, to provide this so that they have understanding. And sympathy, actually, maybe I should put that care. rather than sympathy.